Home prices soared 3 times beyond the Fed's inflation target. So why is the Fed saying that there's still no inflation, and what lies ahead in the housing market for 2021? Hey everybody, JJ here, bull, boom, bear, bust. It is Tuesday, December 29th, 2020. Just a few days left in the year. And let's just do a quick recap. We told you this was going to happen. A lot of people predicted the prices to drop when the lockdown recession began. We said no. Markets can be manipulated, and they will be manipulated because of the ones pulling the strings right now on this system. So if you were short selling housing stocks and if you were preparing for a plunge in prices, we told you don't hold your breath because prices are going to continue to climb. Now, we'll talk about what I think is going to happen in 2021. I think we're going to see a reversal of this, not just a pause, but a reversal. But first, let's talk about the enormity of this price surge in the housing bubble as it continues to inflate across the nation. Now, if we take a look at this chart, this is the Case-Shiller 20-City Composite Home Price Index. Year over year, we are seeing the biggest year-over-year price increase since mid-2014. Right, again, going back to the shutdown and the economic situation that unwound here in 2020, hardly anyone said that this housing market was going to remain propped up. I don't think any other channels that I've seen said that. I think we are the only channel. Of course, I don't get a chance to watch all the hundreds of different channels that are out there or commentators. But as far as I know, we are the only channel that guaranteed that home prices would not drop. Okay, so let's explain it again in more detail. How can this happen? How can home prices rise faster when there's a severe economic situation with massive unemployment, a pandemic with people scared to go out and look at houses in many cases? Well, I put together a few bullet points here, and this is not all inclusive, so feel free to add your own commentary down in comments. But of course, we have low mortgage rates, bank deregulation, no accountability, zero reserve requirements, endless liquidity via the Fed, surging demand, flight from larger cities, and part of that also is the work at home opportunities now that a lot of offices are closed down, FOMO, fear of missing out, so the rapidly rising prices basically feeds on itself and creates even more anxiety for people that feel like they're going to be priced out of the market forever. We also have the rescue programs that prevented foreclosures. That equals less supply. So when sellers can remain in their homes, when homeowners can remain in their homes and don't have to sell because they can't get foreclosed on, that's going to stop a lot of homes that would be normally for sale from being put on the market, and that's less housing supply. And that, of course, interrupts the supply versus the demand equation. I also have here the fear of the illness. A lot of potential sellers took their home off of the market because of fear of the illness. All right, and speaking of low rates, it's not just mortgage rates. When you have low interest rates in general, that disincentivizes people from saving their money and putting it in the bank. So more and more people are looking to put their money somewhere where they can get a bigger return. That includes housing, the stock market, and other assets. All right, so you see there's a lot of facets to this and a lot of reasons behind it. I'm sure there's more that I missed. But the bottom line is this entire market, this entire economy, including the housing market, is manipulated. It's all funny money created out of thin air in unlimited amounts. All right, combine that with lawmakers that want to see the economy looking good for obvious reasons. All right, let's get into the latest numbers here. Out of the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, we see leading the pack is Phoenix, Arizona. Now, if we look down here, we see that the blue line is this year, and that's year over year from October of this year compared to October 2019. And it also shows the previous month, which was September. Now, keep in mind, Case-Shiller home prices, the index runs a few months behind because we're just getting the October numbers now. And I'll go ahead and minimize it here so we can see the price change on the bottom here, percentage change. Now, the Fed inflation target is 2%, so obviously the Fed has failed if they meant to keep prices in check. Technically, part of the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, doesn't include home prices. But in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, the Fed should consider the real cost of living for people, and they should factor in home prices. But we can see Phoenix is about 13% year-over-year price increase. Seattle about nearly 12%. San Diego 12%. Los Angeles over 8%. Cleveland, Boston, Portland, Charlotte, North Carolina, Tampa, all over 8%. DC, Minneapolis, San Francisco, all near 8%. Coming in at 7% year-over-year price increase. Denver, Atlanta, Miami, Las Vegas, Dallas, Chicago, New York, closer to 6%. Right, so even in the bigger cities where people are getting out of for a large part, prices are still accelerating. But believe it or not, some of the smaller cities that people are moving to are going up even more. We see some cities with 15, 20, 25% year-over-year price increases. However, those cities are not included in the 20 city price index that Case-Shiller puts out, so we don't have them in focus today. But for the first time since the financial crisis, the annual price increase in every major U.S. city, according to Case-Shiller, rose by at least 6%. And that means that the average home price all across the U.S. is now rising at 3 times higher than what the Fed's inflation target is set at. Now, if CPI did include actual home price inflation, then inflation would be above where the Fed has the target, which is 2%. But doing that, including home prices, would then take away the Fed's excuse for keeping the markets propped up and causing further price inflation and keeping the bubbles popped up. All right, now Joseph Carson did some commentary on this CPI and what's happening with home prices. And he says the following, quote, "Actual consumer price inflation is rising during the recession. That runs counter to the normal recessionary pattern when the combination of weak demand and excess capacity works to lessen inflationary pressures. The main source of faster consumer price inflation is centered in the housing market. The Case-Shiller Home Price Index up over 7%, higher than what it was last year, more than twice the gain of 1 year ago. The sharp acceleration in home price inflation represents the fastest increase since 2014. This runs counter to the pattern of the past 2 recessions. During the 2001 recession, home price inflation slowed by 1/3, while in the Great Financial Crisis, home prices posted their largest decline in the post-war period, falling over 12% nationwide." Okay, let's talk about what's possible to unfold in 2021. And so everyone, get out your crystal balls. Do you think the banks are going to continue to be deregulated and unleashed with the zero reserve requirement? Do you think the Fed is going to continue to supply endless liquidity? Do you think the rescue programs that are preventing foreclosures are going to last throughout 2021 or forever? So essentially, do you think that everything's going to continue as we had witnessed here in 2020, or is there going to be a tipping point or a change in the lawmakers' activities? Remember, at the stroke of a pen, they could bring this market down. There could be a lawmaker that comes in, a president, what have you, that could sign something off saying banks have to have money in reserves in order to lend it out. That means no more fractional reserve banking. Well, please let us all know down in the comments what you see in your crystal ball. It's my opinion that we're going to see big changes coming up here in the very, very near future, including non-economic things that are going to be happening. Big things, in my opinion, here just in the next, I'd say by the end of January, we're going to see some major jaw-dropping, shocking things unfold in this country. It's a very dangerous time. It's also an exciting time to be alive. I hope you're well. Stay safe, stay prepared. Until next time, everybody, bye for now. Peace.